All right, we are talking about Brent Spiner. He made sure that Data would not return for Picard Season 2 and what that means. But before we do that, please hit that subscribe button right down there below on your way to the comment section to tell Danny that he's wrong.
What if I agree with you?
Well, I guess that's okay. All right, so this is exactly what happened here. Going back to Star Trek The Next Generation movies, one of the practical difficulties of continuing the storyline was always Data. The android officer theoretically did not age, but actor Brent Spiner obviously did, clearly. For the most part, the movies were
technology. Sorry.
What's that?
I said we had de-aging technology, but whatever.
Not that back then we didn't.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, now we do. For the most part, the movies relied on audience suspension of disbelief. Yet when the character was first killed off in Star Trek Nemesis, it was with the knowledge that disconnect could not last forever. Modern digital effects, however, allow actors to convincingly play their younger selves. Thus, Star Trek Picard allowed producers to go ahead one last time and let Spiner give Data a proper farewell. But didn't expect a third time. For the charm or otherwise, Spiner gladly keeps returning as various members of the Soong family related to Data's creator, Dr. Noonian. He plays the Doctor's son, Altan, on Picard Season 2, ancestor Arik on Enterprise, and now even earlier ancestor Adam on Picard Season 2. But for the current season, he had to put it in his contract that Data would not return. So, why do you think he would have to put that in his contract?
I think, he said it I saw an interview recently. After 7 or 10 years or whatever he said, after however many years of playing an emotionless android, I wanted to play a character with some depth. Like this, this was on something recent I watched. So I think that's what it is. He doesn't want to. He doesn't want to be, because if he didn't do that, they'd have made him do a Data scene. You know that.
Yeah, they would have had some Data scene. You're right.
Yeah. So, and he's just over it. I really think, based off things he said in interviews, I just think he's over Data.
So this is what he said to the Hollywood Reporter. Spiner notes that he did not want to undercut Data's emotional assisted suicide farewell, saying everyone agreed on it. The writers knew only on where this season was going. The Hollywood Reporter does not specify that the contract in question was for this season, and perhaps pointedly unclear about Season 3, which reunites the primary TNG cast. He also says nothing about whether or not Data's evil brother Lore could return. Oh my God. Which is going to have the same problem.
Right.
Though he does name drop the bad robot. He says of Adam Soong, Adam is in a lot of denial about who he is, which is a classic narcissist, and I think that is in his DNA. And it made its way to the dark side of the Soong family all the way to Lore. So, interesting that he mentions Lore after the Season 3 announcement. That's making me believe that it's probably Lore. So you're probably right. You're probably like, he wants to be able to emote, and Data is like emotionless.
Yeah.
Well, what version of Data is not emotionless? Lore.
Well, Lore. Yeah.
So he can be playing Lore, and he even mentions that the bad part of the Soong DNA has made its way to Lore.
And if you think about it, and they're showing that is the only thing I think I mentioned this last week. Well, no, I mentioned my fear of it, but they solidified it with this last episode that we'll talk about tomorrow. Is man, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. You know what I mean? He totally turned into a bad guy. Right. Don't you think?
Right, but I would even argue that he never really had good intentions to begin with.
You don't think so?
I mean, what were they? It's not like he was actually trying to resurrect his dead daughter. He was just cloning.
Well, hold up. Is that so? Do we know that? Like they haven't made that entirely clear. Did he have a daughter and then she died and he kept cloning her, or did he just clone himself in a female form to try to, like, do we know the answer to that?
I actually do not know the answer to that.
Okay.
Maybe, yeah, maybe you let us know in the chat.
Yeah.
Did he clone himself or did he clone his dead kid?
Like yeah, his first, because like especially that last episode, she goes through all those different names. You know what I mean? I'm like,
Yeah, those
holy
were different
cow,
clones. Those were
how
different clones.
many, right? But clones of who? A
Oh,
female clone of him or a clone of his daughter
I don't
that
know.
died?
I don't know, but it definitely seemed like she was more of a project than a daughter.
I don't know, man. Hold up. Now that episode, maybe it was the last episode where he injects her and the drones go away and she gets to swim and like he's like just like let's enjoy the win. Like I don't know. That felt like, as a father. I mean, you're a father, right? You have
Yeah,
kids. Like that felt like a genuine moment to me.
right. And
Like
that's what made the character so great until
yeah,
they cucked him by
until they
taking
ruined
away
it.
that.
Yeah, I agree. It was
So I mean,
such a yeah.
maybe it was his daughter that he cloned, and but then he cloned her a bunch of times, and so at this point, maybe I mean, I guess it could still be that he started off with good intentions, but it's a
Yeah.
project now.
And if you think about it, a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy, of course, he needs the help of somebody like Q to cure, because if the original copy had something wrong, and that's what caused his original daughter to die, in my own headcanon here, any clones of that would just get worse and worse and worse over
Well,
time.
no, I mean you're using the multiplicity rule. I
Okay.
don't think that
Yeah.
applies to cloning.
Okay.
I know that in multiplicity, his character, every copy of a copy of a copy was a worse version of the original.
Yeah. Until like the last one was like mentally
Mentally
handicapped.
handicapped, right?
Yeah.
If you have not seen Multiplicity, that's one of the
It is
most
a really good
hilarious
movie.
movies.
Michael Keaton. It's like it's a sleeper hit.
What a great movie.
I love that
But I
movie.
do not think that's how cloning works. I don't think it's like the copy machine theory.
Okay.
I think that every clone he was trying to write out the bad DNA or write out what was making her sick in the first place or messing with her liver or whatever it was.
Okay.
I think that's what he was trying to do, but I'm not clear. I do know that until we get more information, they've officially made that character a two-dimensional comic book villain.
Yeah. Yeah.
When
And that
before this
sucks.
episode, he was awesome.
Yeah, I am 1,000,000% agree with that. Like he had so much depth and complexity, but now that we know she's like clone, who knows, 50 or 100,
Yeah.
of himself as a girl or his daughter from 50 or 100 ago. I mean, like, because they made a point to show him aging in those videos.
Right.
You know what I mean? And yeah, just like that's such a bad decision on the writer's part, in my opinion.
Although I would love it if what started the whole Soong brand was him cloning himself every 100 years or whatever.
Yeah.
And then when he gets to Noonian soon, he's like, cloning is like a pain in my butt. I want to make a body that I don't have to worry about anymore. So
Yeah.
he's like, I'm gonna create this android body for myself. Doesn't work out the first time. Doesn't work out the second time. Doesn't work out the third time. Then the crystal entity comes and he can't finish his work, and he probably ends up cloning himself anyways just to continue going forward. And that's how we get to Altan or whatever his name is soon.
Yeah.
Who's now running a robot farm where they can actually do that. So what's to say that he's not an android? He finally he realized his dream by putting himself into an android. We don't even know.
Yeah.
And what if in season 3, Lore is trying to co-opt that technology?
Well, they haven't. Well, I get. Yeah. No, the only one. Yeah. Never mind. Yeah. It could be.
I just find it interesting that he said, I didn't want Data to come back. He had to put in his contract that Data wouldn't be back for this season. But when they referenced season 3 in the Hollywood Reporter, he purposely finds a way to inject lore into the conversation.
Yeah. No, I think you're think you're onto something there. You heard it here first, folks.
Yep, you did. All right, that said, we're gonna move on. We'll see you guys tomorrow.